Live from New York, it's Monday Night Live, and welcome to Trucking to Heaven with your hosts, Felix
and Dr. Mark here.
And we are continuing on with our promotion of our
coffee party.
That's right. And we're drinking coffee tonight also. And if the people who didn't listen to the show last week, or last Friday I should say, the coffee party is a grassroots movement we just started on Friday.
That's right.
And what we're trying to do is tell people to vote. We do not support any political party. We have our views, but we're not pushing them on you. All we want you to do is vote with your heart and vote with your brain, and don't vote down the party lines. Mark?
What we're hoping here is that if you want to see change begins with you. Okay? You exercise that right to vote. Your predecessors, Americans before you, many of them lost their lives defending that right to vote. It's a constitutional right, and it's the only way, the only legal way, that you could bring about the change that you want to see. But always remember that the change begins with you.
I want you to know something, ladies and gentlemen. When you go into a voting booth, don't just look at the Republican line or Democratic line and vote down the line. Know your candidates. Listen to them. See if they seem realistic. You don't want to vote for somebody that's so to the left that you know and nothing he is going to do is going to make any difference. Or so far right, where he can't make any changes except, so vote for the guy that you know so you can support and say, hey, this guy makes sense and this guy should be able to make some changes.
I think it's important to know that every candidate has his or her own platform that they would like to bring about, the change that they would like to see. But what a lot of people find out, as our president has found out, he wanted to bring us change we can believe in, but when you don't have a Congress that's willing to work with you, making change is very difficult. Okay? A lot of people are complaining. He said one thing, he hasn't delivered. The only thing that I would really, take him to task on is this whole business of job creation. And I know it's not his fault. I know that he has proposed many times a Jobs Act, working with the infrastructure, repairing our roads and bridges and tunnels, sort of like the during World War II, the CCC, under Roosevelt, taking Americans who are out of work and putting them back to work. But Congress blocks him every chance they can. They attach certain things to these laws to try to get them passed, and it has nothing to do with creating a job. And obviously nobody knows this better than the people sitting at home who check the newspapers, who go online to GoDaddy.com or whatever sites they're going to, trying to look for jobs when there aren't any.
And I hear this silence, Mark.
Does that mean you're thinking?
No, I just fell asleep there for a second, but nothing to do with you, mind you.
Oh, okay. See, I'm glad I took a nap before I came here.
See, you're smart.
I don't fall asleep on you.
Well, that doesn't seem like it, but that's okay. Mark and I don't know if we actually come from different backgrounds. I was born in Israel. I was raised as a Catholic, and my mother was Jewish. I was all mixed up, and I grew
you're
up
still mixed up.
I'm still mixed up, and I grew in a different environment. And Mark, I think, is more of a Long Island type person.
No, I was a Brooklyn boy. I was
boy?
a city boy growing up. I didn't move to the island until I got married.
And I think Mark would call himself a progressive
Yes.
person, and I would say I'm more of an independent, leaning towards the left on some points, leaning to the right on others, and not agreeing with anybody on some points. But when you're voting people in, you need to vote people in who have enough audacity to vote against their own party when they feel the party is wrong. Don't go with the crowd. Don't go with the pressure. And the same thing for us when we vote. Don't go with the crowd. Don't go with the pressure. Just go with whatever you think is right.
Well, look what happened in Wisconsin a few months ago, talking about state senators who were pushing an agenda, and the rank and file primaried them. They had a primary, and they were voted out of office, but all three of them said, we voted our conscience, and that's what you want somebody to do. You want somebody to vote their conscience because it's the right thing to do. They're not voting, as Felix would say, this straight party line, okay?
As I say, make it 50% your mind, 50% your heart, because just thinking rationally doesn't always work, and voting purely by heart doesn't work. You mix those two up and you'll come up with the right decision. What do you think?
I agree.
Yeah.
And we'd like to know what you think, ladies and gentlemen out there. Remember, our number is 516-665-1860.
And you could also Skype us at truckingtoheaven.com.
Or you could email us
at
Felix
okay.
at truckingtoheaven.com or Dr. Mark at truckingtoheaven.com. Or just plain Mark at truckingtoheaven.com. Or Tonto at truckingtoheaven.com. Right, Kimosabi?
That's correct. You could even put in Lone Ranger at truckingtoheaven.com. That's not important. What's important is...
Where's your silver bullet?
Oh, that's for me to know and you to find out.
Oh,
Kimosabi.
Okay.
What else?
Well, as I've said before, Felix and I are just two guys that are sharing our opinions, and our opinions have no more weight than your opinions do. But we really would like to hear from you. The way the program is set up, we could take roughly 2 phone calls.
Maybe 3 if we keep them short.
If we keep the 2 phone calls short, we might be able to get 3.
Our show is from 9 to 9:45, and so far, nobody's ever called before 9:30.
It's true. In fact, last show, I was ready to cut it at 9:28, and Felix said, have faith, and as soon as he said have faith, it's almost like the heavens opened up, and we not only got 1 call, but we got 2.
So you never know.
And there was a 3rd caller who couldn't get through.
And he called us after the show was off. So you never know. And we're also going to work on the system to figure out how to put calls on hold. If it works, we don't know. This is all new to us. I mean, we're not working out of a professional studio.
Oh, this isn't a professional studio here? No?
It's a recording studio, but it's not a radio studio, yeah.
By the way, as you know, Next week is the 1-year anniversary, for those of us on the East Coast, of Hurricane Sandy, the superstorm which devastated the tri-state area, Jersey, the 5 boroughs, Long Island, parts of Connecticut. And we are devoting the majority of the show on Friday and possibly into Monday, because Monday is actually the 2 days before.
Oh, actually, one day before, because it was the 29th.
Did it strike? Did it? When it was the 29th?
Yeah,
when is the 29th? I don't even know.
Tuesday's the 29th.
I don't even know what day it is today, Felix.
Well, sometimes when you retire, you never know what day it is.
But point being, we hope to have someone from the Rockaway area calling us up who is very active on the reconstruction and the rebuilding of the Rockaways. She's just an ordinary person like you. Okay, my sister Tina mentioned this to me, and she said that this person would very much like to call up, and we want to get all of you people from Rockaway listening on Friday and possibly Monday, and any of you who, I don't know anyone in Staten Island, but if anybody knows anyone in Staten Island or even New Jersey, the Jersey Shore, we certainly would like to go interstate out to Jersey and give a shout out to those areas that are still rebuilding.
And also, I want to give a shout, I guess, as Mark calls it, shutout.
Shutout?
Shutout.
Yeah, that's what happened to the Rangers the other day against the Devils.
Yeah.
They were shut out.
Is that what's going to happen to the Giants tonight?
Oh, I don't know, but I must tell you, folks, Felix has so much faith in the Giants that when we were putting down what we were going to be discussing today, he said, oh, yes, another loss by the Giants, and I had to tell him, no, they're playing tonight. So the game is on as we speak.
And if anybody knows the score and you want to call us, or you could also send us an email, tell us how bad the Giants are losing, so my prediction stays.
Speaking of losing, there's only one unbeaten team in the NFL. I watched the game yesterday, bits and pieces. I missed the Denver game. Denver was the other undefeated team until yesterday, but I understand that there were quite a few turnovers at the end, a questionable hit out of bounds. Okay, these things do happen, but Denver is now 6-1, and the Kansas City Chiefs, God bless them, under Andy Reid, one of the NFL's more successful coaches, 7-0 to the Giants 0-7. Oh, I'm rushing it, aren't I? They're only 0-6 now.
0-6 till it's officially 0-7.
But how about them Jets yesterday?
What happened? I didn't watch the game.
Well, let me tell you, I am not a Jet fan. I am a Giant fan, believe it or not. And
are you also a Met fan?
What?
Are you also a Met fan?
Not on your life.
Oh,
no.
okay.
But that has nothing to do with anything. Point being that the Jets were losing 21-10 at the end of the half. I put it on again in the fourth quarter, and it was 27-24 Jets. And New England was moving the ball. They managed to tie it up on a field goal with 10 seconds left. And in overtime, our New York Jets defeated the New England Patriots on a penalty and field goal, 30-27. So the Jets are having the kind of year that people